Hello, my name is Mitch Morey, and I am one of your accredited financial counselors at Fort Stewart, Georgia. Today, we're going to talk about budgeting. As you know, we always talk about budgeting being the foundation for all financial wellness, financial well being, and just getting your money on track. So, today, we're going to talk about different ways that you can do a budget and different reasons why we do a budget. There are many advantages to creating a budget. The first being it prioritizes your spending. This will help you be able to prioritize your spending in a way to where the important things are paid on a monthly basis and you know exactly what's going on with your money at all times. Budgeting also reduces stress. As you know, money can cause stress, especially if you don't have enough of it or if you're not budgeting correctly. That a lot of stress can be created by the finances. So, creating a budget will help relieve a lot of that stress for you. It will help you be organized. It will let you know where your money's going, how much you've got coming in, and what you've got left over at the end of the month. And it will help you better plan for your finances. It can help you get out of debt. By using your money wisely, you can pay down debt quicker, save money on long term interest payments, and the amount of time that you have to pay on those debts. It will help you also plan for emergencies. We have emergencies these days that are they're just unexpected emergencies that everybody has in life. And by budgeting, you are able to put money aside for these emergencies to make it easier on you to where you don't have to go get a loan and pay outstanding interest costs and put yourself more in a financial bind. It will also help you accomplish financial goals that you set for yourself. Financial goals being maybe you've been wanting to buy something that you have to save for to buy over the long term, or you want to go on a vacation or a cruise or something like that with your family. This will allow you to build up that savings. What we're going to do is we're going to start by creating a budget. Now, a budget can be done in many different ways. And you can also go online and Google budget worksheet, and it will pull down a lot of different budget formats for you that you can use. Now, not everybody has the same style, and you may have different needs than the next person. So you can go there on Google and figure out and look at all the downloadable forms. Most of them are already pre planned with the formulas in them. Now you can check the formulas to make sure they're done correctly as you are doing your budget at first. Just make sure that you get the one that's going to be more conducive to what you're trying to do. So we're going to go ahead and fill out a budget here and look at different ways that you can do it. Now, this is just a generic budget worksheet that I have that really does everything that you need it to do, but you may need one that's more intense and has a lot more things on it based on what your financial situation is. So we're going to create a budget for Sally S. Soldier here. So that's going to be what we're going to start with. And we're looking at what we have. And most of this goes off of your leave and earnings statement that you have available to you every month. And you can pretty much fill this out based on it. So we're going to look at your base pay, say making about $3,600 a month. If you're married, you're getting separate rations, which is $372.71 a month. And then $1,452, say, for basic allowance for housing. All right, if you're married, let's say your spouse is working, making about, we'll say $1,000 a month. Then you go over to the deductions part of your LES, and it will have all your taxes that you pay. So say you pay $252 here, $54 in your FICA. This is basically your Social Security, which right now they're not withholding from you, but next year they're going to actually take out double. So you're going to have to plan for that later and figure out, because they normally take out 6.2%. So now they're going to take that out double for the first 4 months through the 1st of April. So you're going to have to account for that in your budget. So let's say your Medicare is about $55. So you pay state taxes. If you come from the good old state of Georgia, you're going to pay your taxes. Don't worry about that. All right. Let's say you got your basic life insurance through the military is 25. If you're married and have a spouse, you're paying another $4.50 or $5 for that. Every enlisted soldier pays 50 cents a month to the Armed Forces Retirement Home, take care of our retired soldiers that are not able to take care of themselves. Say about $19.32 for dental. Meal deductions, say you go to the field or you're a single soldier, that's going to be about $368 a month. Let's say you're putting $75 into your TSP because you're a smart soldier. So that kind of lets you know here. So having the first part of our budget worksheet filled out, we know we've got $6,424.71, but after all of our monthly deductions of $1,000.26, that leaves us with a total income after deductions of $5,398.39, which automatically gets carried down here to the bottom to calculate our total monthly surplus or deficit at the end. So this entire worksheet ties down to coming out with a final surplus or deficit at the end. So now that we've done our income and our deductions, let's look at our expenses. Now there's two different types of expenses. You may have fixed expenses, which includes like rent and car payments and things like that, that they're fixed. Okay. Now your car payments will go into your debts. But when you're looking at fixed monthly expenses, the rent is usually the biggest one that you have, car insurance and things like that. They're going to be fixed every month to basically the same amount. Then you have what's called variable expenses, which are expenses that fluctuate based on usage. So your electric bill, your water bill, your cell phone bill, and things like that might fluctuate a little bit. So these are what we call variable expenses. So let's look at it and say, let's say we're paying $1,100 for rent. Let's say about $100. Well, we won't go that high. We'll go about $70 for electric. Say our water is about $30. Groceries, let's say we pay about $300 a month in groceries, $100 a month in fuel. And our cell phone bill, these things are usually pretty high, so we'll go around average of about 160. I know you don't buy clothing one time for the whole year, and we usually buy clothing throughout the year, especially if you have children. You may have to buy winter clothing, school clothing, things like that. So let's say we pay about $1,200 a year, so we'll look at about $100 a month. That's realistic if you have 2 to 3 children that you've got to buy clothes for throughout the year for school and winter time and things like that. A lot of people buy their personal hygiene and supplies when they go grocery shopping, but some don't. So we'll allow another $50 for that. If you have children, you probably buy Pampers, wipes, and baby items, which can be pretty expensive as well. Everybody's usually got cable, and it's pretty expensive around here, so we'll call that about $160. And everybody likes to pay about for their Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, and all the streaming videos and things like that. So we'll put about $50 on that. So let's say you pay $450 in child support. Look at your car insurance being about $165 a month. That's if you got one car full coverage. If you got 2 cars, that's going to run upwards of $200 or more. All right. Getting haircuts, nails, personal care. That means for both you and your spouse. I know with my wife, she gets her hair done about every 2.5 to 3 months, and that costs about $300. So we're going to average that out to about $100 a month because that can get pretty pricey. All right. And then we get down here to our lunch and work meals. Let's say you do about $60 a month. And then we go to dining out and entertainment. This seems to be where service members really shortchange what they're actually spending. Normally on a normal basis, I'll get people tell me, come in, and I'm spending $100 a month on dining out. This is a family that's got a spouse and 2 kids. And they're saying they're going out 2 days a week maximum for dining out. That's 8 times a month, and say they're only spending $100. I don't know where you're going. I need to go there. So be very realistic on what you're spending on dining out and entertainment. The best way to do this is pull down a bank statement. pull down the last 30-day bank statement, go through and figure out what you are actually spending on dining out and entertainment. Now, this doesn't just include going out to the restaurant. This includes if you stop for lunch during your workday. That may not tie into your lunch meals. That may be a little bit extra than what you think you're spending on lunch meals. So you have to look at that. If you go buy coffee during the day or your Monster energy drinks, this all factors into your daily stuff that you do. So make sure you're calculating for it accordingly. So I usually go about 200 to 300 here. And I've had service members that actually spend that said, oh, I spend about $100 a month. And then we've gone through the bank statements and I've seen soldiers go up as high as $600 to $650 a month just on dining out. So be very careful when you calculate this and pull down that bank statement and go through line by line and figure out exactly what you're spending on dining out. A lot of people give to church tithes or charity. So we'll give them $50 a month for that. If you've got pet, that's going to cost you about $50 to $60 a month as well. If you have to pay daycare or babysitters and things like that, that could get very pricey as well. And then we'll say we're giving yourself about $100 a month in personal spending, just so you've got a little bit. So this is calculated all of our monthly expenses. It comes out to about $3,295, which also goes down here to the bottom, which lets you know you still have $2,103 left. Let's say and you got your child support here. Where are we at? Child support, you're up there. All right. And then baby daycare, let's say if you've got children, you know, that's going to be at least $500 a month, maybe even more. So let's go now to our debts. This is where everything else comes into play that we have that is a monthly debt. So let's say we have an auto loan and we're paying about $450 a month on our auto loan. We owe about $20,000 on our car still. We've got an interest rate of about 4%. Well, we know that's some people just have single vehicles. Some people have multiple vehicles. So if your spouse has a vehicle as well, and you're paying on it, that's going to raise this up. So you owe about $13,000 on that vehicle, and you're paying 5% interest. Then we move down into any kind of credit cards you might have. Most soldiers have the military star card these days. Pay about $50 a month on that. And then you say you got a balance of about $600. And usually these start out about 10.74% as long as you haven't missed any payments. Then let's say you've got credit cards for you and your spouse. So you're paying $60 on that card, you owe about $800. That's usually at about a 15.99%. Then we get to your spouse's credit card. So you're paying $60 a month on that one as well. That's got about $1,200 balance. That's a 16%. So this all calculates up and it starts going up. So after we have everything completed, we've got our income after our deductions are out of it. We've got our total monthly expenses, which come out of this column here of $3,795. And then we have how much we're paying a month in debts, which comes out to $970. Well, this is still leaving us $633 left over every month after all of our bills are paid. So the hard part is figuring out exactly what are we going to do with this other $633. And there's many different things you can do with it. It's got to be whatever's going to be best for you and more beneficial. You can start by paying down some of your debt. By paying down some of your debt, you're going to be able to decrease the amount of interest that you are paying over time and pay down these balances faster. So let's say we take this 60 up to $100. All of these take up to $100. It is going to decrease the amount of time and the amount of interest that you're paying on the leftover balance every month. So we've just cut these in half. All of these we've cut in half just by adding that extra $40 or $50. We've taken a lot of money down off of it. And we still have $503 of a monthly surplus. We can look at maybe we want to bump up our TSP. We've been wanting to do that for a while. So take that up $50 because you know time and compounding interest make money. And that's what that's going to do for you with your TSP. Adding that extra money is going to increase the amount of interest that you earn each month on your investment. Plus, it's going to help you over time in creating more money for when you're able to take out and start drawing on that investment. Then we're down to 453.39. That is where I would like to say, go down here to your emergency savings. Put $100 a month into your emergency savings. That way you're going to start being able to save for those goals, save for those emergencies that might arise. This is what we look at. You still got $353 buffer. Things happen. I understand that. And things happen that really affect that monthly budget that you weren't planning for. But now you have two things to help you with that. Number one, you've got that monthly surplus that you have. Plus, number two, if you need it, you've got that emergency savings plan. So this is going to be able to get you out of tight situations to where you don't have to go out and get one of the high cost, high interest loans from a predatory lender off the base to where you've got another debt in your back pocket. This is a good way to look at it. If you find yourself in a monthly deficit, you have to find ways to increase income. And even on this budget that I've created for you, there are ways to cut back on things. Especially number one, when we look at it, you can cut back on cable and Wi-Fi. A lot of people like to have all these sports packages, HBO, Cinemax, and Showtime, and they get these big expensive packages. Actually, $160 is relatively cheap for when you're talking about those big packages. The Xfinity and all them, they usually like to run about $200. Cut back on a package, go down a program and figure out what it's going to save you. You will be amazed if you went back from, say, 230 channels to 160 channels. That's going to save you a lot of money, and that may downgrade the whole package to where you get a much better deal. A lot of people don't even have cable. They're just streaming. They're Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Amazon Prime, and they just do total streaming. So that might be an option for you as well if you're in a significant bind to where you need to get a positive cash flow quicker. So we've talked about the budget and all the things that we can do with the budget. I really urge you to look at this. A budget is an evolving document. So it is going to change with different life changes that you have. So you have a child, or you get promoted, or whatever it is that you do. Update your budget a minimum of 6 months. Every 6 months, you should be updating your budget because things are going to change. A lot of people like to update their budget and make sure, do a sanity check on it every 3 months. And there's nothing wrong with that. When I look at service members, and I talk to them about what do we do when we research things that we want. We will spend hours, weeks, months researching something that we want to buy. But when is the last time that we actually sat down for 30 minutes and created a good financial budget for ourselves? That is what I charge you to do. I charge you to create a budget now, and I charge you to create a budget after the first of the year when your finances are going to change a little bit. And then in April, you're going to have to do another budget once the Social Security stops getting taken out double out of your paycheck. So this is a document that you have to continue to update. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your service. Have a great holiday season. Stay safe out there. Mask up, and let's get through this pandemic together. Thank you.